Hello, and welcome back to another reflection of mine for this past week's lecture of um, what is it? TV advertising and radio advertising. I'm just going to put on a timer real quick, just so we don't go too long today. And also I have some examples to talk about as well about some of my favorite ads that I've experienced in advertise or not advertising, but commercials, and then in radio, and then I'll have one that I like from the Super Bowl this year. So, anyways, so what are the key takeaways from this week's resources? I think the biggest one for me was going in. I did think that um, like commercial advertising, I wouldn't say is dead, but I just didn't think it was as utilized as it still is compared to anything else, just because like for me when I think about it, it's like I don't know anyone that still has cable. I don't know anybody that even watches commercials anymore. Like even like all my buddies, like when we're watching shows or whatever, even if there are breaks for some sort of advertisement because we're doing some sort of streaming service, um we end up just going on our phone or not even paying attention to the ads. So we were sort of shocked about how much those are even utilized in general, still in media. And then the other thing is with radio not being dead, like, and it seemed like a lot of people were still pretty adamant that they like to use the radio and interact with it. And it was just sort of interesting to me. Like I was asking some questions during class, more or less so not to argue with people, but I just wanted to understand what's in their mind. Like why would they want something like that? Because whenever people that are in my social circle go in the car, we don't listen to the radio. We're like, who gets the aux cord? Even though it's Bluetooth now. But like the whole point is like that is the question that's being asked, and like it's who's going to be playing music. So it's one of those things where we never really think about using the radio, but I guess there's still a good amount of people that like to have that sort of social interaction, and sort of like that just general format people still enjoy, and there is a use for it. And on top of it, it's just significantly cheaper than doing like commercials, but you can still get across the message you want depending on medium you choose. So with no longer, I'm going to play the full ad because I think the whole thing's pretty funny. But um, one of my favorite advertisements, and I'm just going to share the screen now, is going to be this one, the Get Happy commercial, Super Bowl 2013. It's still in my head. I thought that was really funny. And like, even though some may say, I don't want to say it's politically incorrect, but like some people may get offended. Um, there's a lot of people in the comments now. You could say that they lied, but um, they talked about it and they said that they're Jamaican and a lot of their family thought it was hilarious and made them feel more welcome, kind of thing. But let me play it.
Yeah, they're the worst. No worries, man. Everything will be alright. Yeah, man. Oh, don't fret me, brother. Sticky man come soon. Yeah? Wicked copy, Mr. Jim. Julia, turn the frown the other way around. Hey, Dave, you're from Minnesota, right? Yes, I. The land of 10,000 lakes. The Gopher State. So, in conclusion, things are pretty dismal. You know what this room needs? A smile. Who wanna come with I? Traveling along with a song that we're singing. The one that I feel. That's 3 minutes late. Don't be no cloud on a sunny day. Yeah, chill, Winston. Sir? Respect, bossman. That's the power of German engineering.
Yeah, so that was one of my, or if I can stop this.
Yeah,
Probably one of my favorite commercials of all time, just because there's like a humor to it that's just so lighthearted. Like it's like a few years you have to come back, watch this masterpiece, put me in a good mood. Like funniest commercial in history by a landslide. Don't They didn't understand why there's so much hate behind it. It's like political correctness and humorlessness run out of hand. And it's like my family's Jamaican, and I think it's easily the funniest commercial of all time. Like I'm Jamaican and I like the ad. It's just one of those things where it's not necessarily pointing out something negative, but it's just supposed to be very lighthearted and just funny in general. And for whatever reason, like this one has stuck with me. And I'm not one to watch commercials, but I thought this was pretty funny just because it just caught me so off guard when I first saw it. And it does just put me in a good mood. And then in terms of the radio one, oh, and I guess I should also mention with this is that like obviously you needed like the music of like Get Happy and then just like the voice and everything. Like you needed the visuals and the sound in order to see like the comedic element to it and the tone of the commercial because otherwise it could be taken very of the opposite. But then there's this one, and this always appeared on the radio. I remember this when as soon as we started talking about radio. Then it goes into like the whole song, but like when it was on the radio, it played that little jingle part at the very start, say their spiel, and then do the jingle part once it's done. And I always like it was just for whatever reason in my head, it was just really catchy. And out of everything that I've because when I was younger, there was a lot more radio playing from my grandparents in the car because it's not like I had Bluetooth or anything like that. Um, so I would hear a lot more, and then therefore I would hear this all the time. And that ad just sort of stuck in my memory just because it's just so catchy in my head. Not that I've ever even bought Pizza Nova, but the point is that like it's just sort of remains in my head and is something that I haven't forgotten. Like look at the date posted is 10 years ago. And then let me see if we have time. This is from this year. So this is the last ad I'll play.
General Motors is going electric, and Netflix is joining in by including more EVs in their movies and shows. It's the least they can do. So if you're gonna get swarmed by an army of the dead, why not get swarmed in an EV? No, I said no fighting. Or if you're being voluntarily kidnapped, why not be kidnapped in an EV? What's that scent? Is it pine? Now, should they add EVs everywhere? They shalln't. They shan't. Is it shalln't or shan't?
It's like,
What about here, Erica?
you're ruining the show, you idiot.
What do you mean? It's me, Dusty.
You're not.
Yeah, you're right. This is ridiculous.
Sammy, wait. Later, loser.
But anywhere else, it makes sense.
There goes another runner.
Brad was so much better for you. You should have gone with Brad.
Yeah, Brad. Are you serious?
Why not make more of those cars electric? Just what? It's the least they could do. Of course, you kill me. I mean, you literally did kill me. You know what? I'm glad you bit me too.
So with that one, you can just see the celebrity power that they were able to get via Netflix and GM's partnership.
The 2023
Let me
XFL
just
season.
pause this. And the kind of influence that they had, because like most of those shows are very like status heavy, like they're very popular in nature. So by getting somebody such as like Will Ferrell to represent it, and then on top of that, then you have all those like little characters, like the one that made me laugh when I was first watching it was when he went as Dustin from Stranger Things, because it was just like I was not expecting that when I was watching this commercial. I was thinking the entire time like this must cost a fortune to make, and then that one just sort of took me out of it. Now, would it be effective in me to converting or a conversion rate to actually buy the product? I don't know. They're selling cars, so I'm not really in that market. But um, I think it's like a subconscious thing for people where um, it's just like something they can associate just positive emotions towards, like TV shows that they liked, and the car deal or the car brand itself. And yeah, so then in terms of like my key takeaways, it moved into like what surprised me with like the radio still being really prevalent, the significance of this content. In my opinion, is just to sort of show that radio and commercials, well, commercials are just very expensive, but if utilized correctly, can be very, um, I guess, opportunistic would be a good word, and would allow for um, really creative styles of generating some advertising content for viewers and try to invoke a little bit more emotion than a little page on the internet can do. Um, did I change my mind about anything? I don't think I did. I think it was more like, oh, well, this is interesting. Like, I guess you could say I changed my mind on it being dead because or radio being dead just because it really isn't. Seems like a lot of people still like to use it and listen to it when they drive. Um, Otherwise, I think in professional and academic work, being able to utilize those two types of media, such as radio and commercial, can be very beneficial when you're trying to either come up with a cheaper way to make content. So, like with the radio, or want to create more of a story if you have more of a budget with whoever you're working for. And that'll be my reflection for today. Thank you for watching, and have a good one.